Um, how can we have good health? If I'm not in a state of good health, how can I get there? And I think meditation is one of the keys to good health. And I say that because of my own personal experience with it. So before I started meditating, I guess I would say my health was average. I uh, I had some problems. I would need to go to the doctor. I would need to take some medicine on a daily basis for some issues that I was having. So I guess I would call myself typical. And it turns out that typical or normal or average is not where you want to be, because if you accept it as normal, then you're defining a state for you that really isn't what I guess, what you want. And it really isn't normal. You're defining something as normal that isn't normal. So I would say being in a state of bad health is being in a state of not normal. Okay. Um, it seems to me that being in a state of good health is where everyone wants to be, and it's where everyone should be. So the question is, how can we get there? Um, should I always go to the doctor for my health? I mean, I don't know, but I'll tell you this. I used to go to the doctor all the time, and sometimes it would help me, right? And that's why we go, because you want to get helped. You want to get back into good health. And so it's normal to go to the doctor. I find that though in the last 4 years, I don't need to go to the doctor for anything. I don't have any problems at all with my health, neither physically nor mentally. And that was one of the things that I noticed right away um, when I did the 8-day group retreat with about 20 other students and one master who was leading us. Uh, One of the consequences of having learned meditation and having practiced it from a very genuine point of view, embracing it really, um, one of the consequences for me has been that any health problems that I had were gone pretty immediately. Things that I had been taking medicine for were gone in a moment. And I remember I still had the medicine after that moment. And I remember feeling like my body is feeling wonderful. And I don't even know why I have this medicine. And I remember taking it out of habit. And I was still taking it for a while. And I finally realized, I thought to myself, well, I'm obviously not sick. There's obviously nothing wrong with me. Why am I taking this medicine? So I eventually threw it in the trash and I never went back to the doctor and I never needed it anymore. And so the question is, how do we get there? That's the normal state that we want to be in. And the state of sickness is what I would call a not normal state. Okay. It's not normal because it's not what you want. Okay. If you don't want it, then it's not normal and you shouldn't have it. Um, and so that's maybe the question we want to answer is how do we get there? So meditation is one way to get there. Now, why would meditation lead you to states of health, both physically and mentally? Health isn't just physical, it's also mental. Um, Meditation can get you there because it brings you into alignment with your true self. Okay. That's why it can get you there. Um, when we meditate, we quiet the mind, and there's techniques for that, right? Like following your breath. So if I'm sitting quietly and I'm not being disturbed and I'm focusing my attention on something that's in the present moment, okay, this is the key, right? You want to focus your attention not on thoughts, but you want to focus your attention on something in the present moment. And typically that's the breath. Um, and so you follow the breath, and what happens is the thoughts that are preoccupying you tend to become dimmer and dimmer while you're focusing on the breath. And this can bring you into alignment with your true self because a lot of the thoughts that we have are thoughts that tend to put us in a direction that's away from our true self. And so you might ask yourself, well, how do I know? How do I know if this thought is leading me towards or away from my true self? And I would say this, if the thought brings you joy, then it's a thought that's leading you towards your true self. But if it brings you fear or other negative emotions, then it's leading you away from your true self. And so that's one measure by how to know, is this thought, is this a thought that's leading me towards my true self, bringing me into alignment with who I am, or carrying me away? So, so the thoughts that we keep in mind are thoughts that determine our health, among other things. Everything is determined by our thoughts. Uh, we create our world with our thoughts, and this is a powerful thing to know. Some people don't know it, and they believe that they're thrown into the world and everything that happens outside of them, they have no control over. Well, that's the upside down picture of things. Okay. So it turns out that you control everything with your thoughts, and you can control your health with your thoughts if you have the right thoughts. Okay. So the right thoughts bring joy, harmony, happiness, contentment, and the wrong thoughts can bring anger and depression and fear and other negative states. So the negative emotional states, if you have them, will manifest on the physical by showing signs of poor health. Disease will come into the body because of these negative thoughts that bring negative emotional states. And so, physical health is, I would say, this good physical health, like being in really good health with no problems. That's what I would call normal. If you can choose, if you can consciously choose thoughts that bring you back to a state of peace and joy, then your health will naturally improve. Um, so how did it work for me? So for me, um, I was lucky enough that I chose to go on retreat with a master who basically lived his life knowing all these things for many, many years, and he wanted to teach everybody. And so I didn't know a whole lot about this before the retreat, and I only learned a lot of it afterwards. I Everything came to me all at once, but you don't seem to know it all at once. Um, so like I said, is as soon as I had the experience, the health immediately was 100%. And I even had problems moving my shoulders because I had some frozen shoulder issue during the retreat, and that cleared up immediately. And I didn't even think much about it. I mean, it just all seemed normal to be in 100% health. And I had to stop myself after a while and look at my body and say, what's going on here? Why is my body functioning perfectly? Um, and I realized it was because of the experience I had. And so another question a person might have as well, okay, I can see what you're saying here. Choosing the right thoughts can be helpful, and that's true. But how can we have a guide to help choose the thoughts besides our emotional state? Emotional state is a great guide for knowing if your thoughts are lining up with your true self or not. Another guide I would give, or some advice I would give to people, is um, always always err on the side of forgiveness whenever you're dealing with other people. Always assume the best in everyone, whoever you're dealing with. It doesn't matter whether you're great friends with that person, they're in your family, or it's some adversary. Always assume the best and always be willing to forgive that person for any perceived wrong that they may have done. Now, I'm not saying that's easy to do, okay? Because I know for a lot of people it's not. But if you can adopt the mindset that you're willing to forgive someone for their mistakes and for their errors that they have made, especially mistakes that have impacted on you, um, then then what happens is some tension or some resistance to this flow of life force energy, which is really flowing through you all the time. Some resistance to it is at the same time given up or lessened. And so when you're not resisting this flow of life force energy, because you're not resisting what is, instead you are allowing it. And a way to allow what is to forgive others. Oh yeah, because why do others need forgiveness? It's because of how we judge them. Okay, it's not really because of what they do. It's because of how we judge them. So if I judge someone negatively, then I need to forgive that person. Okay, because I put the judgment on them. Um, I was the one who decided uh, what their behavior should be. And so that's why I need to forgive them. They don't really need forgiveness, but I do need to forgive them. And if I do forgive them, then I'm not resisting what is anymore. And the life force energy can flow easily through me. If we resist what is, we're essentially resisting this life force energy that's flowing, always flowing through. And when we resist that, the life force energy does have a hard time flowing through, and it flows through less efficiently and less effectively. And that's really what does lead to a poor health. Okay. So if we don't resist what is, if we can be very accepting of it and realize that we are very much connected to others. Okay. When we see another person, we realize that there's a connection. Okay. And this is something that I think is very important. The life force energy flows from source. We're all an extension of source. And if every person is an extension of source and life force energy is flowing to them, then we're all connected to the same source, which means that when I see another person, I know how closely related we are. You know, we think everyone thinks that they're a separate entity and an individual. And on one level, we are individuals, but on another deeper level, we're very, very connected. And so if we remember our connectedness on this deeper level, it's easier to forgive someone for a perceived wrong that they may have done. Um, if you have a chance to talk to them, if it's important, you can always talk to them and let the person know, what they did and so it's fine to talk about it. Um, but I do think forgiveness is practicing forgiveness is a way to practice unconditional love. Okay. And that is uh, that is something that is worth practicing because it grounds us in who we are. It takes us back to the foundation of what we are. Um, and it's not easy. It's not easy to practice unconditional love because unconditional love means that you will give anything to anyone who asks of it. You're not going to say no out of selfishness because you realize your connectedness with others. And if they have a need and you can fulfill it, you're happy to share what you have. That's a way to show unconditional love to others. And it's a way to justify forgiving others for their perceived wrongs. Um, so I kind of want to leave you with that. Um, and I would say that, the meditation that we do on a regular basis, whether it's a daily or something else, it's a great way to bring us back into alignment with who we are. And I'll just kind of end with the meditation idea. Um, it allows us to release all of our thoughts and to come back to our true self. And meditation allows us to have a focused awareness. Okay. And when we're meditating, we can be focusing on ourself. Ourself is our beingness and our awareness. And when we release all the thoughts, we get to know our true self. And when we come out of meditation and we start having thoughts again, it's a moment when you can start consciously choosing what thoughts you want. You don't have to take everything that floods into you. You don't have to give your attention to every thought that comes clamoring back. You can say to yourself, I don't want that one right now. I think I would rather have this one. This thought brings a nice feeling state to me. I'm going to have that one for now. And these other ones that give me anxiety, I don't want those. And if you take your attention off of those thoughts that are bringing things like anxiety to you, you'll see that your health will improve. And that's how meditation can improve your health because it gets you off of the thoughts that bring the negative states and it allows you to more clearly have a choice of choosing those thoughts that bring you positive things like joy and peace and harmony with others. So I would say that if you remember that if you have any health problems, they should improve pretty rapidly if you remember the power of your own choice in choosing the thoughts that bring you joy and peace. So, so that's my advice to people who want to use meditation to improve their health. And I think I'll stop the talk there and we can do meditation together now. So, if you would like to sit in your meditation posture, a posture that you like, that you normally do,